Welcome to the Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is a weekly update for parents on all things social media and big tech. This episode is sponsored by Bark Technologies. I am truly so grateful that parents these days have a safer device option for our kids. The Bark phone was created for families who are looking to ramp up their child's online safety. It has parental controls built in and allows us to manage their entire digital experience safely. More on Bark in the episode notes. First up for this week, and most importantly, after almost 3 years of work, the Kids Online Safety Act has passed in the Senate, 91-3. Many parent survivors who I've interviewed sat in the gallery and watched as this life-saving bill moves forward. This is truly historic. It's a huge win for parents. KOSA will drastically improve protections for our kids on social media. So what happens next is KOSA moves to the House. If we can get KOSA passed in the House of Representatives, it then goes to the president's desk for signing into law. The House members have left Washington, D.C. for their August recess and won't return until the second week of September. So now is when parents can start reaching out to their members of the House, ask them to pass KOSA. You can go to house.gov, enter your zip code, find out who your representative is, and contact them. We are so close to getting kids the protections they deserve. If you have any questions about the Kids Online Safety Act, message me or email me. I'm lining up a few conversations with legislative experts to go out in August to make sure we all fully understand the elements of KOSA and how it will keep our kids safe. And big tech is working hard to spread all kinds of propaganda about KOSA. I am happy to negate that. I'm happy to ask these questions directly to my legislative experts. So let me know what questions you have. A little travel update. I will be in DC next week for a global summit hosted by the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, NCOSE for short. NCOSE is working to end exploitation of children online. I'll be posting live clips and tips from the event on Instagram, so get over there and follow me at Scrolling to Death. Next up, let's talk schools. New York City is the latest school system to start implementing a stricter phone policy. Starting in February, the 1,600 schools in New York City will need to make the phones and watches inaccessible to students, whether that be through collecting the devices at the beginning of the day or providing yonder pouches that magnetically close during school hours. Personally, my kids have 9 days of summer left, and I am worried about device use at my school. There's a couple things I wanted to share around this and provide some resources that you can use to request stricter device policies at your school. So first of all, removing phones from our kids at school is a good thing for everybody, including parents. Removing access to phones at school decreases distractions and cyberbullying and drama and cheating. Kids aren't seeing pornography at school. Removing phones increases engagement, increases academic outcomes. There are so many benefits, but if you are feeling like your school's phone policy is not strict enough, tell your school that. Personally, I emailed my principal. I CC'd a couple of board members at my district. I got responses the same day, and within a week, I was at a board meeting speaking in support of phone-free schools, and a stricter phone policy was passed that same night. Not saying that's going to happen at every school that swiftly, but I want to help get things moving. So I have made the template available. It's basically the speech that I gave supporting phone-free schools that's available through the link in my Instagram bio and in the episode notes below. You can also go to phonefreeschoolsmovement.org to grab their toolkit for implementing phone-free schools. Another thing I worry about is how much my kids are using their school-issued devices during class and what they're accessing on those devices. So I emailed my principal about this. I might be my principal's least favorite person. She hears from me a lot, but my concern is backed up by a ton of studies showing that analog learning from paper is much better for kids than learning on a device. And the amount of time they're spending on screens is really bad for their brain. I outlined the research for my principal and requested that screens be minimized for my kids. Unfortunately, I'm not in a school where I can completely opt out, but I booked a call with my principal. She is working with me on a reasonable amount of time spent on devices, which I will also communicate to my kids' teachers. So if you feel the same, I made my email template that I sent to my principal available again in my Instagram bio and episode notes below. If you'd like a copy, you can paste it into an email to your school. All right, moving on to social media. So Meta messed up big time again. Meta has to pay the state of Texas $1.4 billion after they used data of users without our permission. Not just any data, they used facial recognition to collect biometric data on millions of Texans. Facebook captured billions of photos and videos uploaded to the platform and used facial recognition to recommend tag suggestions without the user's consent. That's not allowed. They aren't allowed to save our faces, our kids' faces, and use that however they want without asking us first. And do we think that Texas is the only state that was affected? No, it's just the only one that has sued Meta so far for this breach. This is yet another example of how social media companies try to get away with whatever they can until they get their hands slapped. All right, a few concerning updates on Snapchat, and the disclaimer here that these stories are disturbing. A 32-year-old Arkansas man has been indicted on federal child exploitation charges after meeting a middle school girl on Snapchat, grooming her, driving to her school where they had sexual intercourse. Another man in the UK, age 30, was using Snapchat to communicate with a 10-year-old boy. Sexual photos were exchanged, and the man is now being held on $1 million bail and faces several felony charges. Another man in New York, age 37, used Snapchat to coerce a 13-year-old child to engage in sexual conduct at a local hotel room. So why do predators use Snapchat to exploit kids? There are lots of functions on Snapchat that are harmful and allow this to happen, but the main one is that the messages disappear. For every person who is caught doing this, there are hundreds or thousands that get away with it. Suffice it to say, maybe keep your kids off Snapchat. Now, a couple updates on TikTok. The US government has released information proving that TikTok actively censors the content that Americans are getting served, and they're doing this at the request of the Chinese Communist Party. Our government is saying that China leverages TikTok's vast user base, 170 million Americans, using their algorithm to manipulate content and collect our data. TikTok maintains publicly that they are not influenced by the Chinese government, but it looks like they might be lying. This is all coming to light because of a new law passed in April that forces ByteDance, the Chinese company who owns TikTok, to sell TikTok to an American company, or we will remove it from our app stores. TikTok then sued us for free speech rights, even though TikTok itself is censoring our free speech. So will TikTok be banned in America? We will have to wait and see if TikTok's lawsuit is successful in overturning the law. But TikTok has also shared that they will not sell their algorithm to an American company. So it's up in the air, and I'll keep you posted. One more TikTok update. This week it was revealed in a study that the TikTok algorithm pushed out neo-Nazi content to millions of users. Not only did TikTok fail to remove this offensive content, but it amplified it. The research showed that TikTok failed to remove these hate videos and accounts even when they were reported by other users. TikTok refutes this, saying, quote, "There is no place on TikTok for hate speech or ideologies and organizations that encourage hatred. We remove over 98% of this type of content before it is reported to us on the app." Bullshit. Okay, I think that's enough for this week. I'll be in touch next week on the Big Tech Gut Check with more updates for parents, all the stuff we need to know about social media and big tech to keep our kids safe. Thank you for listening.